Hello. This is the fifth session of a series of reflections on the Sunday Gospels. It is designed for the parish of St Joseph's, Neutral Bay, and during this time of being unable to celebrate our Sunday Mass. My name is Tony Doherty. I'm a Catholic priest, and I serve at St Joseph's, Neutral Bay, and I'm offering these as some sort of alternative to us coming together on Sunday. If you don't happen to be from that community, I'd like to offer you a very warm welcome to what we have to offer. What we do is this: we simply read the Sunday Gospel, then I offer some form of explanation of it and a few ideas, and then conclude with prayer. It's a very simple process, but I'm delighted that you're here to share it with us. Today's Sunday is called Good Shepherd Sunday, which will be a little more apparent to you when I read this Gospel. The Gospel is from the Gospel of St John, chapter 10. Jesus said, "Amen, amen. I say to you, whoever doesn't enter a sheepfold through the gate, but climbs over elsewhere, is a thief and a robber. But whoever enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens it for him, and the sheep hear his voice as the shepherd calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has driven out all his own, he walks ahead of them, and the sheep follow him, because they recognize his voice. But they will not follow a stranger. They will run away from him because they do not recognize the voice of strangers." Although Jesus used this figure of speech, the Pharisees did not realize what he was trying to tell them. So Jesus said again, "Amen, amen, I say to you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved and will come in and go out and find pasture. A thief comes only to steal and slaughter and destroy. I came so that they might have life and have it more abundantly." This is the gospel of the Lord. As I said, that gospel I've just read introduces Jesus as the Good Shepherd. The idea of a shepherd has a fairly dented image in this sheep-centred country like ours here in Australia. Sheep are hustled along by rural workers on Suzukis, followed by a few energetic dogs. They're crotched, shorn, slaughtered, packed into immense road trains. There's nothing very romantic or very personal about being an Australian shepherd. And yet, the classic gospel story that we've just read, the story of the Good Shepherd, has an entirely different feel to it. The shepherd calls the lamb by its name. The story is about loving protection. It's about intimate connection. It's about a relationship of great value. The Hebrew storytellers have been using the image of a shepherd for centuries as a metaphor for tenderness and care, and particularly the tenderness and care of their God. Quite a different scene than handling a flock of 20,000 sheep heading for some distant market. Shepherds sometimes ring a different bell here for us in Australia. And there's another thing that worries us. Some of us prefer not to see ourselves as sheep. We might even resent the idea of our being rounded up by Suzukis and blue heelers. I'm rather a self-determining, intelligent, autonomous adult. free to make my own decisions, complete with dignity and freedom. Don't feed me all of that sheep language. However, perhaps the gospel story is digging a little deeper, observing us just a little more closely, and dare I say it, with a little more insight. There is some profound human need, I believe, within each one of us, which we may be slow to admit to, particularly in this postmodern world. It is the need to be shepherded, the need to have our own shepherd. And when we sense that we are not shepherded, we come off the rails a bit. Life gets off the track. We recognise this need at sometimes, a little more than others, comes to the surface when the tectonic plates of life begin to shift around us, when the environment in which we are living makes demands that we have never faced before. The need for a shepherd pops its head up when times are uncertain. There's a general anxiety seems to linger in the air, at times when confusion reigns. That's a time when we clutch onto our leaders like umbrellas in a summer storm. The merest word of confidence that they offer us, suddenly they become our saviours. There's a story told by a former Anglican dean of St Paul's in London. His name is Mark Oakley. He has a lovely sense and lovely appreciation of poetry. I've only read his material recently, but I must say I'm a great supporter. Anyway, this is a story he tells. He came across a shepherd somewhere in the north of England, armed with his crook and just a handful of sheep. "Is that crook that you've got there used to haul the naughty sheep back into the fold?" he asked. "Oh, no," said the shepherd. No. That's not what it's good for at all. I'll tell you what I do with a crook. I plant it in the ground, deep and firm, so that I can hold on to it and keep myself quite still so that the sheep learn to trust me. Interesting story, isn't it? The need to trust. The need to stand quiet and still. To find a strong, trustworthy shepherd who recognises us in our storm. But there's always another side. Just behind the idea of a good shepherd lurks the figure of the bad shepherd. The good shepherds of our life help us to flourish and to grow, to live more abundantly, the gospel says, to live with enhanced generosity, to be more trustworthy ourselves, to be more reliable people of greater fidelity, even at times to live with unaccustomed bravery. On the other hand, the bad shepherds, and you can find their imprint every time you flick from one channel to the next, or when you're surfing the endless waves of the web, or perhaps even more so when you listen to the clatter of the radio and the ever-present shock jocks who seem to thrive on chaos. Or sometimes it's even those noisy, dogmatic voices you strike in your local pub or supermarket. These people write books as well. The shelves of our airport bookshops are packed with their latest noisy certainties. How to organise your life in 200 pages. Just take note. Listen carefully. The bad shepherds will be pandering to your narcissism, to your timidity, to your indulged angers, to those cosy prejudices we hold on to that consumerist hunger, buying a book, solving our life's problems. But of course, the generalities that we're talking about between the good shepherds and the bad shepherds get us nowhere. I'd like to offer 3 insights that seem to me to come from that gospel we just read. The first one is we need to discern, to discriminate, to divine, if you like, between the good shepherds and the ones who lead us astray. Is that possible? Well, with a bit of thought, I think it is. Is it easy? Not at all. But one of the remarkable promises in the gospel that comes from Jesus, it was at the Last Supper. Jesus said to his young friends, it was good that he was returning to the Father because he would leave us his Spirit. That Spirit to help us to discriminate, to recognise, to smell the prophet who is not the real thing. I guess in a sense it depends upon how much we believe that promise of the Last Supper. The second point. The gospel itself leaves us with a useful tip. It says, you will know the genuine shepherd by his or her voice. The voice is the key. It is gentle, not hectoring. It is balanced, never strident, intimidating, or out to browbeat. It is free of bluster and dogmatic generalizations. The voice of the Good Shepherd, today's story says, is just the opposite. It comes almost as a whisper. Another scriptural story likens it to a gentle breeze. So, slow down. Take some time. You are able to recognise the lunatics, given some time to think, as we all can. The third point I'd like to make is a question to ponder. Who are the ones who see you as their shepherd? Don't dodge it. Give the question some thought. They may not quickly come to mind. Sometimes they live unnoticed amidst our busy days. But I believe they are there. People who see you as a shepherd. As the gospel says, the shepherd has one purpose in mind, to bring us life and to call us into its abundance. I must say I find that one of the most thrilling promises in the Gospels, to bring me life, life in all of its limitless abundance. So, when you go looking for your own good shepherd, don't ignore that life-giving friend. She might be just standing around, quite still, leaning on a crook planted firmly into the ground, with not a Suzuki in sight. I invite you now just to take a few moments of prayer. A few moments to reflect upon our own lives, perhaps, the lives of others around us, the wider world in which we're living. Firstly, I'd like us to reflect upon those people who feel rudderless in a choppy sea today. I often feel unable to find a safe anchor to trust. People who are captured by anxiety and depression in these rather rocky times. Let's just take them into our heart for a moment of reflected prayer. And of course, we continue to think about those health workers, that nursing staff, the medical officers, the counsellors, the social workers, the cleaners, the people in our local clinics and our large metropolitan hospitals, sometimes stretched and exhausted in the demands of their ministry of healing. May they be given strength to their arms. This morning on Good Shepherd Sunday, let us think of those who are deafened by the clatter of our noisy world, who may be unable to find a place of quiet and repose to listen to the whisper of the gentle breeze in their lives. May they have some space for peace. And a prayer perhaps for all of us, impatient yet cooperative in our lockdown, feeling the absence of family, of grandchildren, of normal human contact, of our beaches and our parks, our places of vacation, or even our offices of work. We long to return, but what will we find? Could I invite you now to bring to mind those people who have died, whom you have loved, people who have shaped your lives, who have been the shepherds in your life. Let's bring them to mind as we conclude our prayer. We offer you these prayers together with Christ your Son. Amen. Our final prayer is a psalm that picks up into the very centre of this Good Shepherd Sunday. It's a psalm which is very familiar to us. It's, well, perhaps 3,000 years old. And it catches this wonderfully powerful image of a shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In verdant pastures he gives me repose. Besides restful waters, he leads me. He refreshes my soul. He guides me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk in the dark valley, I fear no evil, for you are at my side, with your rod and your staff that give me courage. You spread the table before me in the sight of my foes. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Only goodness and kindness follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for years to come. Amen. May each of you share this the blessings of this very rich time of Easter. And thank you for sharing these few minutes with us this morning. God bless you.